Hi, subscribe to the channel, new stories every day. Let's get started. My name is Scott Walters, a 45-year-old systems analyst living in Denver, Colorado. For nearly 2 decades, I believe my marriage to Erica was solid, if a bit routine. We have two teenage kids, Julia, 17, and Max, 15. Our life was a series of comfortable patterns, modest vacations, dinner in front of the TV, weekend errands, the usual. But about a year ago, Erica started talking about finding herself, and it kicked off a chain of events that tore our family apart. The early warning signs, it began innocently enough. She bought self help books on embracing your inner freedom, started journaling daily, and said phrases like, I need to live my best life. I tried to be supportive. Go for it. I told her, thinking maybe she was exploring a new hobby, but her new pursuits quickly became expensive. She enrolled in weekend retreats, spent money on spiritual gear, meditation courses, guided therapy, crystals, stuff I initially wrote off as beneficial if it made her happy. It got worse when I noticed the credit card bills spiking. Erica, we're over budget this month, I'd say gently. She'd wave me off. I'm discovering who I am, Scott. This is important. And sure, self discovery is important, but it was draining our bank account. At times, I'd come home and see random Amazon packages full of odd items, dumb, questionable find yourself kits, extravagant journals that cost a fortune. I started to worry. The money problems intensified. One evening, I opened the pantry and it was nearly empty. Our funds had gotten so tight that we were skimping on groceries. Julia and Max complained, Dad, why is there nothing to eat? I was mortified. I confronted Erica about it. Me, Scott. Erica, look around. We barely have groceries. The credit cards are maxed. What's going on? Erica, defensive. I'm investing in myself. You keep telling me not to stifle my growth, right? Me, exasperated. I'm not telling you to stifle anything. I'm saying if we can't pay for the basics, we can't keep funding these courses. She brushed me off again, repeating, I'm living my best life. Don't hold me back. I felt a headache coming on. Julia whispered to me later, Dad, is Mom okay? I had no good answer. She's going through something, I said. Suggesting a psychologist, as the money problems escalated, I tried a new tactic. Erica, maybe see a professional psychologist, someone who can help you find this happiness without breaking the bank. She scoffed. A psychologist? They'll just judge me. I finally feel alive, Scott. Why can't you be happy for me? I try to keep calm. I want you to be happy, but you're ignoring all our responsibilities. She rolled her eyes. You just don't get it. And that was the end of that conversation. She declared she was finally living her best life, and a psychologist wouldn't do any good because, in her words, they'd try to fix something that wasn't broken. I disagreed wholeheartedly, but I let it go. Rumors about a younger man. One afternoon, I was at the office when a coworker who lives near us, Kim, pulled me aside. Scott, I saw Erica driving around in a fancy sports car with some young guy. Looked like a hotshot. I stared at her, baffled. Are you sure it was Erica? Kim gave a sheepish shrug. I've known her face for years, so yeah, pretty sure. Maybe it's just a friend's car, I muttered, trying to remain calm, but my heart pounded. That evening, I told Erica, hey, weird question. Someone said they saw you in a fancy sports car with a younger man. She almost choked on her water. Huh, a younger man. People are always making stuff up. Don't believe the gossip. So you're saying it's untrue? I pressed. She gave an airy laugh. Yes, untrue. I'd never do something like that. A flicker of doubt warmed into my mind. She'd lied before about smaller purchases, telling me an expensive $300 retreat was only $50. Could she be lying now? Unable to shake the rumors, I decided to check our joint account more carefully. The statements showed large, unexplained cash withdrawals, sometimes $200, sometimes $500. In the last month alone, I scrolled, my stomach twisting. Where was that money going? When I confronted Erica with printouts, she shrugged. Just some personal expenses. Personal like what? I asked, exasperated. We're nearly broke, Erica. Why are you always on my case? She snapped. I'm allowed my privacy. I insisted, Erica, you're taking out hundreds at a time while we can't buy groceries. She deflected. Don't blame me for your poor financial planning. Poor financial planning, I nearly lost my temper. For 14 years, I'd balanced our budget. Now she spent us dry and I was to blame. Something was definitely off. The truth emerges, a much younger lover. A few days later, my friend Kim confirmed more details. The hotshot car guy was apparently Liam, a coworker of Erica's who was rumored to be nearly 20 years younger than her. Kim had gleaned this from mutual acquaintances. Stunned, I realized how everything fit: the lavish spending, the secrecy, the denial. She was likely buying fancy clothes or gifts for him, enjoying his exciting, youthful lifestyle, and paying for it all with our shared account. I steeled myself to approach her again that night. Me, Scott, I know about Liam. People say he's younger, that you drive around in some sports car with him. Erica, eyes flashing. Oh, for God's sake, Scott, are we doing this again? It's just nonsense. Me, I've seen the withdrawals, Erica. The budget is shot. It looks like you're funding some fling. Are you? She glared at me, crossing her arms. Even if I were, that's my business. I'm an adult. I'm allowed to have friends. Stop playing games. He's not just a friend, I said firmly. He's 20 years younger, and you're living this so-called best life while ignoring our responsibilities. Erica tossed her head. I'm done with this conversation. She stormed out of the living room, refusing to confirm or deny. Her silence told me enough. Gathering courage to leave. Days turned into weeks. Our home grew colder, the tension palpable. I realized she's not going to change. She's effectively replaced me with some younger thrill and no longer cares about our marriage or finances. The final straw was an argument about groceries. Again, I discovered we had no gas money left. She'd withdrawn $400 cash that morning, then lied to me about it. That night, I decided I'd had enough. She came home late, presumably from work or self-discovery. I no longer believed anything she said. I confronted her. Erica, I'm leaving. I can't live like this anymore. She blinked, then gave a short laugh. What do you mean leaving? This marriage is over. I'm not going to pretend I accept your fling with this younger guy. She paused, tension flickering in her eyes, then scoffed. You can't be serious. I am. I've seen enough. If you told me you wanted an open marriage or a separation, we might have talked. But you lied. Spend our money and keep seeing him. I'm done. She spat. Fine, if that's how you feel. No tears, no heartbreak, just scorn. Julia and Max overheard from the hallway. Julia stepped in, eyes tearing. Dad, what's going on? Erica rolled her eyes, heading to the bedroom. I sighed, telling my kids, I can't stay here, guys. Mom's made choices. They stared at me, then at each other, a silent exchange passing between them. We'll support you, Dad, said Max quietly. We saw how she's been ignoring you. Julia nodded in agreement. Erica reappeared, arms folded. Stop turning the kids against me. You did that yourself, I muttered, taking a suitcase from the closet. The kids helped me load up a few essentials. Within an hour, I was out the door. Erica shouted something about me being a coward, but I ignored her. The kids insisted on giving me hugs. Julia whispered, I'll stay here for now, but we're on your side. I crashed at a friend's place. Over the next few days, I set up a meeting with a divorce lawyer, Trina Brown. The kids texted me updates. Mom's furious. She's asking more about your credit cards. Then they discovered that their mother had taken a weekend trip, likely with her new beau. They were disgusted, telling me they rarely saw her, except when she needed them to do chores. Trina explained that since we'd been married 14 years, we had to consider spousal support, property division, etc., but we rent a modest house, no big mortgage or property. We do have combined savings, though severely diminished now. Erica apparently wanted her share plus more. She even demanded emotional damages for me abandoning the marriage. The nerve. I told Trina she's the one who had an affair, but state laws in our area typically treat it as no fault. She can't get more unless you let her, Trina said. Stand your ground. So I did. She lawyered up too, pushing for alimony, ironically claiming she'd given up her career to find herself. That didn't hold water. She had a job, just sporadic, and was blowing money on her new fling. The kids stepped in, telling me they'd seen Mom's new guy and described him as early 20s. They were creeped out. Max complained, He's closer to our age than he is to yours, Dad. Julia added, It's so embarrassing, Dad. She tries to act young around him. Hearing all that only fueled my determination to finalize the divorce quickly. If she wanted that life, fine, but not at my expense. Negotiations dragged out with Erica demanding more money. I refused, so we ended up in mediation. She threw me accusing looks the whole time, but the mediator pointed out we had limited assets anyway, and the kids were old enough to choose who to stay with. They both openly said they'd move in with me if we parted. That rattled her. She tried to guilt them, but they were unwavering. Ultimately, she left with minimal spousal support for a short duration. Trina hammered out the agreement well. Why do you want them anyway? Erica snapped at me in a final spat. They'll just judge my relationship. They're your children, I said, mind boggled, but if you don't want them around, that's your choice. She shrugged. The kids and I were speechless, but it confirmed everything I suspected. She was too self-absorbed to care. Within 2 months, the papers were signed. I got a small apartment. The kids moved in, making it feel like home, though it was cramped. They switched off, occasionally seeing their mom, but they didn't enjoy it. She kept harping on advice from her new beau, who apparently wanted them to call him bro. They hated that. Meanwhile, Erica realized she had less money than she thought. Her younger boyfriend wasn't exactly rolling in dough, so all that flamboyant, best life living cost more than she could manage. She ended up texting me, "We could try again if you wanted to come back." I told her no, that was over. "You sure?" She replied, "I see you have the kids, so maybe we can be a family again." I saw right through her attempt at a second chance once the money and novelty wore off. "No, I'm done," I repeated firmly. She didn't press further. So I parted ways with a sense of relief. The kids saw how drained I'd been, but each day we found a new normal. They teased me, "Dad, it's kind of fun all living here. We can watch whatever we want on Netflix without her complaining." I had to laugh. Life was simpler, if not perfect. Now, about a year later, we remain in our small, cozy place, me and the teens. My ex-wife, from what I hear, tries to keep up that exciting lifestyle, but it's tough without funding it through my income. The younger guy apparently ditched her after a while, or so the rumor goes. She hasn't done much to reestablish a stable routine. He'd see her occasionally, but each visit ends with them complaining about how disorganized and moody she's become. I, on the other hand, found a calmer path. I joined a local weekend hiking group, made some new friends, and reconnected with an old high school flame by chance, Rebecca, a single mom who's warm, genuine, and grounded in reality, not illusions of self-discovery at others' expense. We take it slow, no rush to marry again, but it's refreshing to be with someone who respects my feelings. Julia and Max are doing well. Julia's applying for college. Max is into robotics club. We talk openly about boundaries, trust, and how not to replicate their mother's fiasco. Some might say it's heavy talk for teenagers, but they've grown wise beyond their years seeing their mother's meltdown. Sometimes I glance at old photos from the last decade, see myself and Erica smiling at Disney World or snuggled up in our old living room. It's bittersweet. I realize I love someone who turned out to be a stranger to my values, but I don't regret leaving. She had her fling, used our funds for a best life that was ephemeral. I gained freedom, authenticity, and kept the loyalty of my children. So that's the story. I trusted a wife who claimed to be discovering herself, only to discover a younger lover and reckless spending draining our resources. I left, divorcing her after 14 years. She tried to salvage some money, but not the marriage. The kids sided with me, seeing the truth of her selfish behavior. Now we move forward with hope. Learning from the pain, sometimes heartbreak, is the impetus you need to discover your own best life, own free of deception and built on mutual respect. And for that, I'm oddly grateful.